Hello Pisces, this is your extended reading. So are you ready to know where this path that we saw in the first part is leading you towards? Remember, it felt like, you and others were just children waking up in this process of awakening as the sun was rising. So it felt like very, very childlike, just like a game for you to keep entertained while the missions were accomplished, or tiny little goals were being met, right, as you were being given the breadcrumbs. So it's like you were only seeing the next breadcrumb. It's like you were not seeing the entire thing, although you knew that it would be like it's almost like it would be worth it, right? Because it would be fun just by going through this path. Like the journey is like that game that children play, when they draw on the sidewalk or something like that. If you know the name of that game, just let me know. So the cards here in the extended, they're talking about this growth process, and in being part of this awakening process, it feels like the first part was corresponding to like a younger phase, like a more innocent kind of phase, whereas here the extended is talking about this next stage of development in your, well, not just the when kids are so entertained, it's like nothing else matters, right? And so they are fully present. That's what the Eight of Pentacles was symbolizing. It's like completely integrated with their own bodies. This is like the the subtleties of the first part. Here in the extended, it seems like you are growing from that phase. So to keep entertained, but to evolve from the children's game, it's like it requires some sort of a magical touch for you to keep going, keep just seeing this path as magical, as fun, as worth it. But it changes in a way because it's like your lessons, in a sense, are also evolving. So we begin actually this extended with two cards, the Seven of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles. So these two cards came together, and the way that they were talking to me, it's like if in the first part you Pisces were showing up as this page, right, as a very innocent, pure-hearted child, here showing up as a knight and a Knight of Pentacles. So it's like you have come to the end of this very practical game, in a sense, but it's like you have conquered whatever it was just defined as a goal in that phase, in that stage as a kid. So you accomplished that. Here, what these Seven Swords are talking about, it's almost like when you come to the final part of this path, it's almost like you meet the mentor, in a sense, and this mentor is preparing for the next stage, where it's almost like when you graduate from 1 year in school, and you are being greeted by the teacher that was there through the entire year, the whole process with you. So they are happy to see that you are now ready to graduate and move on, and they are giving you the heads up of what is going to come next. So this is all their advice, right, in advance. It's like they are giving you the heads up of what to expect, and all of these are like these tiny little tips, really, that they are giving to you in order for you to keep in your mind. So this circle here is all about like keep in your mind that not only the lessons from what you have experienced with your own body, like going through this game, right? By participating very actively, very presently in this game. But keep in mind that not only what you have experienced with your body is going to stick with you, but also this next phase is going to present you with a lot more subtleties, right? It's like the difference between the pentacles, which is earthy, and this swords, which is airy, which is much more intellectual perhaps, right? That's the reason why you are being upgraded. It's like you are able to not only understand and go through the physical part of this path, but also through the more irrational or more it's like connecting the dots, right? Because following these two cards, these two opening cards, we have the Eight of Swords. So here, if the first part was presenting you with the challenge, in a sense, of this Eight of Pentacles, which was this game kind of playful path of discovery and development, this Eight of Swords is the next phase when you have grown from the Page into a Knight. Because now that you are the Knight, it's like you hold the knowingness that you have absorbed from that last year, in a sense, that is now, it's like embedded in your cells, right? Embedded in your body. This is what, you know, the Pentacles here is talking about, is within your cells, within your body, because you have physically experienced something through a game that was entertaining, right? And so with the heads up from your mentor from, you know, the last year, it's like you are able to see that the path ahead is going to be one a lot more tricky, right? If we think of the traditional meaning of the Eight of Swords, yes, it is a tricky energy to navigate because there are a lot of misunderstandings or, you know, misconceptions or lies or just, you know, untruthful things that can deceive us or just make us believe in things that are not real. And so the trick here to navigate this tricky path is here, the Magician. So remember, not only the path that you just came through, that you just graduated from, the Eight of Pentacles, which felt like a game, right? Like a playful kind of chore, really, right? Or some sort of challenge that was fun and entertaining to keep you going. So that game is now integrated to your being. So the trick here, this Magician, the way that it's bringing the message to this next phase of the path for you, Pisces, is that because this is going to be a tricky one, because it's going to play with your mind, it's like in order for you to remain in your path, it's like you have to see the magic in it. It's like almost the way that I'm seeing this, it's like a smoky room where, you know, it's easy to be distracted or to be deceived or to see something or think that you saw something that wasn't there really. So it's like be discerning to see the magic, really, to find what are the tricks, in a sense, to navigate this tricky path. It's like it's important for you to understand the tricks, the magical tricks behind the smoky room, right? And I feel like somehow, again, there is this presence of a mentor. If in the first part we had the King of Swords, that felt like, well, now because here we have the Queen of Cups, it's interesting how they are both coming through as father and mother, right? But not necessarily like your parents, your actual parents. It could be like a paternal mentor and a maternal mentor, like this masculine kind of person that you look up to, that was guiding you with things that are very objective and straightforward, being the King of Swords. And also because it was you know, simpler or more direct, dealing with things that were practical again, right? And here, because it's a lot more tricky, it's almost like you have to see the magic beyond the smoke, in a sense, right? Because this is what I'm like, the room, like this corridor filled with smoke. So it's like you have to trust your core, your heart. This is what this mentor is saying to you. It's like this teacher, in a sense, that is going to accompany you through this path, through this next stage, right? Where you have grown, you have matured. So you are now ready to go through this path and to see the magic beyond what is deceitful, what is untrue. And because this guide, this mentor, this mother figure is coming through as very pure also. So it's almost like a remembrance of why you initiated the path in the first place, why the sun was rising and activating your pure heart, right? So you are growing up, you are becoming more mature, you have already acquired things in your body, in your history, in your DNA, in your blood, that are, in a sense, attesting how much you have been through, right? All of your experiences in life history, in a sense. But this Queen of Hearts is reminding you that in order to see the magic and go through this next phase, you cannot forget where you came from. You cannot forget your initial stage, or you know, that purity of heart that you were carrying since the beginning. So this is like a very important reminder, especially because of the cards that are coming next. So not only the moon is coming up, which actually was a card that was in yesterday's reading too, but because this card was pretty much coming through as a mother figure with the moon, it was like confirming to me as a reader that yes, is symbolic of a mother. So perhaps we are talking about your actual mother, or who you consider to be like a mother figure for you, that is guiding you and, you know, acting as this constant reminder that despite the trickiness of this next stage, it's like, listen to your heart. This is what they're saying, because it's like going through this next phase, since it is so subtle, it's like there's such a fine line between what is true and what is untrue, that you have to be completely discerning in order to see what is being manifested or what is being manipulated, right? It's like there is this really thin line of this magician, like how much of it that you're going through is the creation of your own true pure heart, or what is being you know, just manipulated by whatever, right? So here we have the moon, the devil, and the 10 of wands. So I'm going to start with this 10 of wands because if you've seen, you know, my latest readings, you know that, you know, both the 9 of wands and also the 10 of wands are indicating to me this path of flowers. And because we saw that this Ace of Wands was, you know, this initial filter to tone down the intensity of the sunlight that was coming through when the sun was rising, that we saw, you know, opening up your first part. This filter, this organic filter, is necessary because it's almost like this imprint that is necessary for us humans to be to have this nature impression on us, to have this connection, right, to the organic side of creation and manifestation, especially because perhaps it's part of how you distinguish between what is true and what is untrue, like the tricks that, you know, when you are in the night, right, or when you are in a room filled with smoke, it's like you are able to really be discerning of what monsters you're creating in your mind or not, or what you are letting the environment spook you, in a sense. So being this well, didn't I say something about like with this Wheel of Fortune, the first part being the hand of God, it's almost like this next phase with the hands of the magician. You know, sometimes I know this image usually brings the image of the head, but to me, the figure of the magician always talks about like the creation and the manipulation of the hands. So, making magic, or, you know, being discerning of what is magical or what is not. It's like part of taking whatever was steering your path so far into your own hands, right? It's like become so prepared or so ready to discern when you are in the darkness, things that are not healthy for you from things that are guiding you truthfully. It's almost like this is the tricky part of when you are navigating through, you know, the dark night of the soul, for instance, and when you take accountability that you can co-create, you can create this future, this path, this manifestation that with your own discernment, it's like you are able to create from this intuitive side and not this deceiving side. And so you can recognize the breadcrumbs that are in front of you, that are, you know, beyond this smoke screen in a sense. And this is what, you know, this 10 of wands is talking about. If here it was like very clear, because it's almost like the ability to focus of a child. Well, I'm not talking about like a long amount of time, but when a child is, you know, completely entertained with something, it's like that thing is their entire world. So this tree was their entire world, which was the first piece that was filtering the sunlight, and they were already receiving the benefits from it, right? Because they were being you know, imprinted upon with this nature imprint. And the breadcrumbs that were coming with this 2 of wands from the first part, it's like the next tree and the next tree and the next tree. So although it was like perhaps a very hard work path, right? Or perhaps just a physically exhausting one, right? Or demanding one. It was fun because you weren't seeing back then or last year how much you would have to go or how far you would have to go. It's like you were just seeing the next step and the next step and the next step. But here, since you have graduated, it's like you are able to deal with more. It's like you are able to deal with this next level kind of challenge that presents you with, you know, tricky things, tricky appearances or tricky atmospheres, right, that are surrounding you in order to really calibrate your intuition. And you have the guidance and the support and the remembrance that's coming from this Queen of Cups, that it's like your heart always knows the truth. Your heart knows it. So if you allow this guidance from your mother to guide your intuition and to always take you back to this, it's almost like this moon here is coming through like a cradle for a baby. So you will always feel protected. You will always feel like you are being guided and comforted, because it's like this is the trusting in your intuition part of this discernment phase, right? That is allowing you to really, it's like you are trying to pluck what is deceiving from what is beautiful, from what is the continuation of the path of breadcrumbs. So remember, last year, or when you were younger, or when you were just beginning this path, you were only seeing one piece by one piece, right? One breadcrumb after another, because it was everything that you could cope at that moment. But now, since you are capable of discerning what is true and what is not, what is healthy and what is not, what really feeds your intuition and what feeds your ego, it's like you are able to follow a path that has more information in it. It's like the breadcrumbs are still here, right? It's like the guidance is still continuing, but the fact that you are now surrounded by more and more trees or more leaves or more branches or more flowers, it's the fact that you are able to absorb more or to store or be it's like be shown more, right? Because you are no longer being steered in a sense. It's like now you are steering because you are now manifesting it. It's like you are discerning the tricks, right, from the manipulation in a sense. So you are in a sense creating through magic because you are perceiving through magic, you see? And I feel like this is somehow like the ability to hold in more information, right? Because you are no longer a child. It's like you have stepped up your game. It is still fun. It is still supposed to feel like it's entertaining, it's fun, it's joyful, it's playful, it's magical, right? But you are part of the magic now. It's like you will forever have the support and the love and the embrace and the comfort of this mentor, of this mother figure, but it's like on you to navigate this dark night of the soul that continues, but continues with like it's like the path is one thing, the smoke screen is another, right? It's almost like in the beginning of this new phase of the path, it's like it's all enmeshed in one space or one atmosphere, right? But since you have graduated and you were ready for this new task, it's like you are able to discern, right? That the breadcrumbs that you have to keep on following and those who are just there to dismiss you or to deceive you or to just, you know, detour you really. But you are following your intuition. So I mean, Pisces is already very intuitive. It's just that with the reminder of this one, it's like you keep on the right tracks in a sense, right? Which is already very beautiful and it's more expensive, right? You are able to store and absorb more of it, of the path, and continue on the right path. So Pisces, after all of that, let's see what the astrological runes have to add as a final guidance for you. Okay, 2. Oh God. Okay. So we have the South Node here and Pluto. And actually Pluto is coming through as this devil. This is the, well, this is the ability that you have. This is perhaps the goal and the reason why you are on this next phase of this game, right? Of this development, because, you know, especially being the South Node, you know, the South Node and the North Node are talking about this path of spiritual development, of spiritual evolution. And so this navigation in the dark and the having the ability to really perceive that which is deceitful, right? It's like when you do go through things that are taking you to a path of such transformation, it's like letting the old skin be shed, right? Really shedding the old skin. And this South Node talks about like the past, right? The place where you have come. So the first part, which, you know, this is talking about whatever you're going next, it's almost like perhaps this new phase, it is so tricky that you wished you were in the later, in the you know, the one that you have just graduated from, or going back to the path that it was fun, right? It was a game, but you have grown bigger than that. Like you cannot stay there. It's like you have to keep on going, you have to keep on developing, because it's part of this transformational process that is like the shedding of the old skin, right? The South Node talks about like what you have already accomplished, what you have already absorbed within you, like all of the wisdom and the knowledge that your spirit already holds within it. So if you stay here, it's like the transformation will stagnate, and this is not what you want, especially because you're dealing with, you know, an energy that is very strong. So it could keep you in this, you know, smoky screen that is like very confusing and perhaps very overwhelming in a negative side, right? That is, you know, perhaps triggering anxiety and just, you know, exhaustion and fatigue and, you know, just mental distortion. So allow this phase to, you know, it's like to run its course. That is the way that, you know, it's like, do not stay stuck with the last part that you had just graduated from, or that you have just finished traveling because it felt more comfortable, or that now is familiar because you went through that, right? It's like, do not underestimate the power that you have, especially because we have the Magician. It's like, even though it could be very, very tricky to let this old skin go, especially because you remember you are going through an incredible transformation, but one that it's like you have to keep on going. Like, you are ready to absorb more. You are ready to go through an even more intense transformation, but the old path needs to stay behind, right? Do not stay attached, even though you are coming through as the Knight of Pentacles, right? So do not stay attached to what you went through already. Just know that you have to be prepared for what's to come. So this is your message today, Pisces. Thank you so much for being here with me. I hope this was insightful for you if you were going through, you know, a dark night of the soul or something like that, because I feel like this entire reading is talking about this spiritual development and this evolution that is part of this awakening process, you know, since the very beginning, how it is supposed to be entertaining, but it's, you know, it's something that requires this maturity, right? So you are maturing for this process. So know that you are ready for it. You can do this. You can keep on going, right? Do not stay attached to any of the phases, right? Not the one that you've been through, or the one that you're going through, or even the one that is to come, you know, further in this timeline. So I hope this was insightful for you. And I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.